Welcome back to The Redeemed Mess. I'm Kathy, and on this podcast, I talk about the messiness of life and how Jesus, in His grace and mercy, redeems every part of it. Whether you're walking through hard seasons, searching for hope, or just need a gentle reminder of God's faithfulness, you're in the right place. Let's dive into today's episode. Today, I want to share something very personal with you, my short testimony of faith. And when I say short, I really mean it, because I have a much longer version that we could be here all day for. But I've come to believe every follower of Jesus should be ready to share the simple story of what Christ has done in their life. If you're not familiar with the term testimony, it's just your story, your personal witness of how Jesus changed your life once you surrendered to Him. Romans 10:9 tells us, if you declare with your mouth Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart that God raised Him from the dead, you will be saved. That's the foundation. It might sound simple, but it's the beginning of everything. I've believed in Jesus ever since I was a little girl. I grew up in the Catholic faith, and I attended Catholic school for 6 years. While I was taught about religion, I wasn't taught what Jesus actually did for me on the cross. And I didn't know that He died for my sins or that salvation was available through faith alone. Over time, God placed people in my life. My mom, who came to Christ and began teaching me the truth, and a pastor who shared the gospel in a way that finally clicked. That's when I first began to understand that Jesus paid the price for my sins so I could walk in freedom. But here's the thing, even though I believed, my life hadn't really been transformed. And that transformation is the fruit, the evidence that faith has taken root. In my younger years, I struggled a lot. I was broken. I constantly sought validation, worked hard to be accepted, and looked for love in all the wrong places. I tried to control everything around me, people, situations, outcomes. And beneath all that striving was fear. I was afraid of being hurt, so I clung tightly to anything that gave me a sense of control. Well, eventually, I had a nervous breakdown. And as strange as that might sound, I now see it as one of the biggest turning points in my life, because it was in that pit that I truly surrendered. With the help of a Christian counselor and many hours of prayer, God began to reveal things in my heart that needed to be let go of. Things like bitterness, unforgiveness, and pride. I confessed my sins, I laid it all down, and that's when I began to experience real peace. One of the verses I still cling to is Psalm 46:10. Be still and know that I am God. To me, that means taking my hands off the things I was never meant to control. It means allowing God to be God in my life, trusting that He's good and that He knows what's best. Another scripture I pray often is Psalm 139, verses 23 and 24. Search me, God, and know my heart. Test me and know my anxious thoughts. See if there's any offensive way in me, and lead me in the way everlasting. I don't know what your story is. I don't know what you've walked through or what you're carrying right now, but I want you to know this. Jesus sees you. He loves you, and He's inviting you to surrender. So if you're overwhelmed with anxiety, fear, or depression, maybe it's time to let Him search your heart, to give Him the burdens you weren't meant to carry, to stop striving and start surrendering. I'm not saying the road will be easy, but I can tell you from experience, it will be worth it. Jesus came to give us life, and not just any life, abundant life. So I'll close with this question. Have you truly surrendered your life to Him? If not, maybe today is your turning point. As always, take what you need, leave the rest, and be blessed.